Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and my first pregnancy update video. If you didn't know, my name is Sarah and I am pregnant with my second child. I have a 1-year-old daughter, Sophia, and I am now pregnant. I'll be 15 weeks when this goes live with my second child. I am due in August, and if you haven't already seen my pregnancy announcement video, how I found out I was pregnant, then please go and give that a watch and let me know what you think, because I really enjoyed editing and looking back at that one. That is definitely one for the memories. Anyway, I asked you guys over on my Instagram if you had any questions for me, especially about the first trimester or just anything at all about this pregnancy. I haven't really spoken about it too much in too much depth yet because I was saving it for this video, and you guys did not disappoint. Not when I found out. I had the same symptoms, which was basically a lack of period symptoms. That's how I started to think that I was pregnant. I didn't get my usual sort of backache and twinges that I get just before a period. Symptoms wise, it's been pretty similar but worse this time. So that's why I think it's a girl, because it's the same, although part of me thinks it's a boy, I don't know. But I've had a lot of sickness. I think something different this time was that I had dizziness early on. I didn't get that with Sophia until I was in my 3rd trimester. Other than that, it's been fairly similar. But I think there's some more questions about symptoms. Let me check. Yeah, there's some more questions later about symptoms. So yeah, it's been pretty similar, to be honest. So I left it a bit longer this time. I didn't do it straight away, probably because I was a bit more relaxed this pregnancy. But you basically find your local number for the midwife. You can find it from the doctors, but I've got a friend who's pregnant and she gave me the number, and I rang them up, and I think I left a message first of all, and then they rang me back, and it's fine. You just tell them how far along you think you are, and they take your details. It was a bit easier for me this time because they already had my details, and actually the community midwife who I spoke to was the midwife who ended up being my one-to-one after my last birth. If you didn't know, I had a difficult last birth and after the birth, and she was my one-to-one, and she recognised my voice and kind of my name and everything. So that was really lovely to have that familiarity. So they book you in for your 8-week appointment, and do they book you in for your, no, they don't book you in for your scan net, they just book you in for your 8-week appointment. So the 8-week appointment, if that's what you meant, booking an appointment, like, that was fine. I was on the phone. It was on the phone this time. It's a bit longer. It's always the longest one because they have to go through all these health things, and they go through like your family history and all of that. Although, like I said, it was a little bit easier this time because they already had a lot of my information from last time. But that was about, I think the first time with Sophia it was about an hour, but because it was on the phone this time and we didn't do the bloods during that time, it was about half an hour, and it was fine. They just go through everything. They're really lovely, the midwives. I just can't rate midwives highly enough, especially in the area I am. They're amazing. And then because it's COVID, I had to book my blood test and urine sample for a separate appointment because obviously you have to go in for that. Normally they do that all in one go. So it was fine. They just ring you on the phone and they just go through questions. Well, mine took a while because I had a few things that I had to go through that were a bit different than last time. Let me explain. So my appointment was for 10, and I was actually seen really quickly. I think with this baby I was seen much quicker than I was with Sophia. I remember with Sophia it took about 2 or 3 hours, and that was without the extra appointments I had this time. But basically this time I had my scan, and that takes, I want to say like 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. They had trouble finding the length because the baby was not cooperating. It's a wriggler, just like Sophia was. And then after that, you go back in the waiting room. Now this was a bit different for me. I had the flu jab while I was there, so that was something they called me for. And then I had my appointment, but I saw a consultant doctor because of the birth last time and because of my sort of complications with my mental health afterwards. So they go through everything, but normally I don't think you'd see a consultant unless you've already had a birth, as far as I'm aware. And then I saw the perinatal mental health nurse. So for me it took a bit longer. I think it took 2 hours, like from 10 till 12. But if I'd have just had the normal things, it'll probably have taken an hour and a half, an hour, maybe. I think it just depends on your hospital. Like, I was lucky this time, I was seen really quickly. But I would always leave a good few hours, because last time with Sophia it took even longer than that without having to see the perinatal mental health midwife and also the consultant. I didn't see those last time. So leave a few hours for your appointment. Yes, we did. Admittedly, we weren't planning on having it this close, so they'll be 18 months apart, which is going to work out perfectly. Originally, we kind of thought maybe 2 years would be good, just because that's what other people we know, like our sister and brother and like family members, they have had like 2 years apart, and it seemed like a good gap. But I'm really excited about the gap, and do you know what? We want 4 children. Even with this sickness, I still want 4 children, I think. And I am 30 this year, so not that I'm getting on, but I probably want a bit of a bigger gap between baby number 2 and 3. So I think a closer gap between the first 2 is perfect. And the thing is, I'm in baby mode, I'm in nappy mode, I'm in baby mode. We've had a really easy time with Sophia, I have to admit, apart from the first bit. That was like absolutely horrendous, hell on earth. I'll link some videos explaining what that all was, or go to my story time playlist. But since then, she is a delightful baby and toddler, and yeah, there's hard days, but she's great. So if this second one could be as good as Sophia, baby, that would be wonderful. So 4, although 3 or 4, I think it will depend on how this one goes. If it's like Sophia, then I think I could probably manage 1 more after that. But if this is easier, like the birth and the afterbirth bit, then I'd probably say 4 still. I mean, the pregnancies are tough, but to me, I don't mind the tough pregnancies. I mean, I'm not saying that when I'm throwing up like multiple times a day and I'm crying. I'm like, this is awful. But it's 9 months of actually being pregnant for a lifetime of your baby. So that's how I'm viewing it and how I'm getting through it. And this time, because I know the joy of being a mum and having Sophia, I feel like I can get through it more. And it is going quicker because I've got a toddler to look after. So to answer that question, 4, definitely 3, maybe 4. Do you know what? I go back and forth. To be honest, I really don't care. Partly I want a girl because it would be easier. I've already got all the clothes, like I can just dig through them, sort them out, and I've got them all. It means we're going to save money. We've got like all the decor, although the toys we bought, we've tried to buy neutral on the whole. Not all of them, but just so that, you know, but it doesn't really matter, does it? It's just toys. But I feel like a girl would be easier, and I always dreamt of having a sister. So I've got 2 older brothers, Joe's got a sister, and I always dreamt of having a sister. I used to be obsessed with Mary Kate and Ashley, and I always wanted a twin. So I used to like make my best friends be my twin, pretend to be my twin. So for Sophia, I think it'd be lovely if she has a sister. However, I've always dreamt of having a little boy. I've known my little boy's name since I was like a teenager. I've dreamt of this boy. I don't know what it is, I just really know I want a little boy. But now part of me thinks I'd like my little boy to be the youngest. So whereas I am the youngest and I have 2 older brothers, I kind of envision it'll be the opposite for me. I'll maybe have girls and then a boy. So that's what I'm thinking. Part of me thinks it's a boy. I keep calling it a he, but then I sometimes think it's a girl because of the symptoms are all so similar. I don't know, but I find out in a week or so it's not long to wait. It's a good question. Do you know what? I thought I would feel more confident, but I don't. Honestly, I still panic and have to Google things, and because I have a few different symptoms this time, one of the symptoms I've had that's different this time is migraines, like really bad migraines. I've never had migraines before, and that is a bit worrying. I always just imagine the worst when I have like a really bad headache, but these are like proper migraines that I've never had before. You know, we have to like go in a dark room and shut the light out. So that kind of panicked me. But my friend who is pregnant, she's a few weeks ahead of me, she had them as well, so in a way that reassured me, because I was like, maybe it's just a pregnancy symptom then. So I'm like asking her advice even though she's first time pregnancy. So no, I do not feel more confident. I also had a bit of lower backache, which I didn't get with Sophia in the first trimester, and it really panicked me. I really thought I was gonna have a bad experience. If anything, I felt less confident this time. I don't know, I just kind of convinced myself something bad was going to happen until I got to that scan and saw the baby. I was always on edge a little bit, and when I got this backache, it was like a lower period backache, like cramping, and every time I went to the toilet I was really fearful that I was going to see blood or something. Thankfully nothing like that happened and I was okay, but no, I don't feel confident with it. Even like with the sickness and things, I didn't learn anything from last time. I'd love to do like a how to survive your first trimester, but I don't know how to survive it. I feel like I didn't survive it, I just scraped by. I'm hoping with the baby I'll feel more confident this time, but I imagine I won't either, because you're used to what you've got at the moment. Like Sophia being a newborn seems a long time ago. I'm very much used to her being a toddler now. You kind of go with the ages that your children are. You learn sort of as they grow. So I imagine with this baby, and of course all babies are different, even when they're born I probably won't feel confident, and hopefully I will feel more confident than I did last time. Oh, the other part of that question was about research. To be honest, I don't do a lot of research. I've never been one to Google things because I like to think I'm quite intelligent. I've got a good education and I'm quite intuitive, and I can work things out for myself a lot of the time, but sometimes I find it depends where you look. I always go to the NHS website because anywhere else I find is confusing and usually more opinionated than facts. So I either go to the midwife or the NHS website, and other than that I don't tend to research things because I feel like it can scare you more, and I'm pretty good at knowing what's right and what's not. I don't think I am at the moment, so that is my view at the moment. I think the reason is it's very personal. I actually love watching labour and delivery vlogs, so it's not that I think it's wrong to do it or anything like that. I love watching them, but if it's anything like the last one, I will not want to ever watch that back again. Like, I don't like to think about it. It was just awful traumatic. I don't want to think about it, so definitely don't want to vlog it. And I think this time, because I had a bad experience last time, which turns out was a pretty standard first time birth, but it was still felt traumatic, I just want to focus on, I suppose, having a nicer birth, or at least not feeling as traumatised by it. And that's something I'm going to be working on with the midwives in sort of preventative mental health care. Yeah, I don't think so. Not at the moment. That's my view at the moment. I'm not going to film it. Do you know what I actually have? I have considered a home birth. It's probably something I'm still considering. I feel like everyone in my family and Joe would advise against it. And we actually live at the moment right next door to the hospital, although we are moving further away. I would quite like a home birth, I think. I just don't know if we could afford to hire a birthing pool. And then we have a hot tub. Could we use that as a birthing pool? It's the same thing, right? Birth in the hot tub. I have seen a vlog of Louise Pentland, actually. She did a home birth, and I think Samantha Fairs, so like these are like British celebrities, like influencers, if you don't know who they are, and they both had home births and it looked really nice. Part of me would like that, actually. I've not really looked into it though. That is something I probably do need to research and think about. I had an awful experience in hospital. The midwives were great, it wasn't their fault, the doctor was great, but then part of me thinks if I had the same birth I had last time, I would need to be in hospital. Like, I would need to be there, so then I don't know. It's something I think I'll probably pray on and see what I'm feeling. It's not something I need to decide yet. If you've had a home birth, let me know. How did it go? Especially if you have had a first, like a traumatic birth, and then you had a home birth. I'd be really interested to see what that was like, and yeah, if you've got any advice on that, that'd be great. So let me talk about the physical symptoms first. So symptoms have been very similar, but worse. I've been really, really sick. I was sick with Sophia, but this has been loads, like 10 times worse. I have been sick just about every day, multiple times a day since the middle of December, so since about week 6. So my first symptom was dizziness. I had a week of being very, very dizzy, and it was awful. I had to get my mum to come look after Sophia because Joe was at work. I couldn't stand up. Like, I emergency called her in the morning, like, I can't even feed her breakfast because I can't stand up. So she came and looked after her for a few days. The dizziness went, and then the nausea came. And then I started to be sick, and I was like, okay. I immediately actually rang the doctor. I was like, I'm going to be preventative this time. I'm not going through it again. But they just fobbed me off, like, no, that's a good sign. And it is a good sign, but it's not helpful when you're throwing up all the time. And amazingly, I had about 3 days grace over Christmas. So I had Christmas Eve, Christmas and Boxing Day. I wasn't sick. It was like God sent me a break for Christmas. So that was nice. I was able to like eat Christmas dinner and eat some food. But do you know what? I lost so much weight. I lost almost a stone, which for me is massive. That is massive for me. Like, I'm not someone who fluctuates in weight a lot. After Sophia, I was about a stone and a bit heavier, and I kind of settled at that. I was like quite fit before Sophia. I was very slim and fit. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not slim now, but anyway. And I just couldn't eat, and everything I ate I threw up, including water. At one point it got so bad I actually rang 111 because I was so dehydrated. I've not weed in ages, but again they just fobbed me off and was like, no, you're fine. I mean, maybe it's because of COVID, I don't know, but I pretty much had to try and rehydrate myself and eat, but it was really very hard. And it's a vicious cycle, because if I got hungry I'd feel more sick. But then if I ate when I was hungry, I would be sick. So the trick was to try and keep full and not feel hungry. But that's hard when you don't want to eat because you're going to be sick. So it's just a vicious cycle, and it was all times of the day. In the night, in the morning, afternoon, evening. It settled into a routine of morning and evening I'd be sick. Like, first thing when I woke up, my body has learnt to puke up my actual guts and bile. I'm sorry, this is way TMI, but welcome to my channel. And then in the evening, it would usually be after tea. I'd usually struggle with tea, dinner, I'm northern, and then spend the evening on the verge and then be sick. So yeah, it's just not nice. It's been really awful, and it's been really stressful for me and for Joe. Joe's been amazing at helping doing stuff. I was pretty much bedbound for the whole of December. Like, from when I found out I was pregnant, I was pretty much in bed the whole time. Obviously the mum guilt was high. I didn't have that last time. I think in the first time it was easier because all I had to focus on was me and the unborn baby. But this time I have a toddler already here. So the guilt of it and having to do things, like when Joe was at work, I had to look after Sophia. It wasn't always possible to have someone here. That has been hard. Food cravings wise, I've actually had similar cravings to last time, which is crisps, like savoury things. I am not a savoury person normally. I'm like chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. Cup of tea and a chocolate, and love nothing better. But apparently when I'm pregnant I go off chocolate, although I've not gone off it as much this time. I've gone off less food this time. I think I have forced myself to try and eat and find things this time, because last time with Sophia I almost developed like a fear of food. I was so scared to eat for being sick, and like I say, it made it worse. So I've been better at trying to eat this time. But crisps, specifically skips, I'll insert a picture if you don't know what they are. I know I have some like American followers. And Monster Munch. Weird flavours, prawn cocktail and pickled onion, but honestly I could eat like 5 bags of them when I didn't want anything else to eat. Initially I was okay with toast, but I think I had that much toast that started to make me sick. I'm still not that keen on toast now. Other cravings, ice water. That was another craving from last time. Last time I craved cheese a lot, and I don't crave that this time. Meat, I've craved meat more this time. I'm trying to think what other actual cravings were from, oh, sorry, that was a toy. I don't think I've got specific cravings. It's more like I'll fancy something. For example, chicken selects from McDonald's. I wouldn't say it's a craving, like I have to have it every day, but I could actually eat it every day with the, is it the sweet chili sauce? It's really nice. And again, that's meat. I think maybe meat is a craving this time. Emotionally and mentally, yeah, it's been a lot harder this time. With Sophia, I was just so overjoyed because we fell first time with Sophia. It was so exciting. I was going to be a mum and live my dream. I was just so overjoyed. The sickness kind of didn't matter. My anxiety with Sophia came later, and it wasn't through pregnancy. It was through like external factors. So it didn't bother me in the first one. I just got on with it and thought, this is part of pregnancy. But it has been a lot harder this time. I think, like I said, the mum guilt, that has been harder mentally this time. I've had many tears for feeling like a failure of a mum to Sophia and for not being able to play with her as much as I was or do like creative activities. I love doing all of those things and I've just not been able to. The other thing is that we've been in a lockdown this time, like a full lockdown. Nothing is open, only essential things, and that has been hard to not have baby groups, to not have anywhere to go. That's been hard anyway for everybody. So yeah, that has been harder this time. Well, Sophia did not want to come out. She literally had to be pulled out by forceps 2 weeks late to the day. I went in 10 days late and was induced, and then she came like 2 days later. So I hope this baby wants to come out this time. If I think to my mum, she had 3 children. The first one, I think she was like 10 days late, which was similar to me, and then it got less each time. I think the second one was like 7 days late, and then I was 5 days late. So if I go by that, then hopefully this will be less late. My one wish this time is to not be induced. If I can not be induced and not have the hormonal drip, it will already be a better birth, assuming the baby comes out healthy and everything's okay. But if I can have that, then that'll be amazing. I don't care how late I am if I can go into labour naturally. That is my one wish this time. So I think they'll be late again. I think the baby will be late, but I don't think they'll be as late as last time. That's my plan. My plan, not that I've got anything, that's my wish. I think I kind of touched on that earlier. Not this early. I will say it was a happy surprise pregnancy. But it has worked out absolutely perfectly. Because I'm a teacher, I'm gonna give birth in the summer holidays, which means I can finish this school year out. It's a summer baby, so Sophia was a winter baby born in January. This is a summer baby, so we can have summer parties. It will be different. Just even things like doing the night feed, it's going to be light from like what, 4 in the morning. So just things like that. It's going to be nice weather. We can go for nice walks. It's not going to be dark and miserable all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with a January baby, but this is just things I'm like telling myself to, you know, for it to be better. And also it's far enough apart from Sophia that they can have like 2 totally separate birthdays. So I was born the day before my brother's birthday. He's 5 years older, but it always meant our birthdays were so close. Even now it's like my birthday and then, oh, no one's celebrating my birthday anymore. Like, I'd like it to be a week celebration, please. So at least they're far enough apart that they can celebrate independently and have like a good time celebrating. So it has worked out perfectly, and I think 18 months is going to be wonderful. I've had so many people tell me that 18 months is a really good age gap, and I'm really, really excited about it. So it wasn't in my plan, but it was in God's plan, and I'm okay with that. Okay, just cut off, so I'm going to try and do a goodbye now, but thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys, thanks for all your questions.